Before we begin, picture this. A powerful CEO publicly accuses a quiet, single dad of stealing critical company data. Everyone believes he's guilty. After all, he's just a NIT support worker, right? But what if the truth is something no one in that room could ever imagine? What if the man they're blaming actually holds more power than anyone there? This is a story about assumptions, hidden power, and a shocking twist that changes everything. If you enjoy powerful stories like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. Now let's get started. The glass-walled boardroom on the top floor of a Manhattan tech tower felt colder than usual that morning. Outside, the city moved with its usual rhythm, but inside, tension hung thick in the air. Senior executives sat around a long, polished table, their tablets open, faces tight with concern. At the head stood Emma Lawson, the company's CEO, known for her sharp instincts and zero tolerance for mistakes. Today, her patience had run out. "Critical data has been accessed and moved without authorization," she said, her voice cutting through the room. "And we have reason to believe it was done internally." A quiet murmur spread, quickly suppressed as the doors opened behind them. Jake Miller stepped in. He looked out of place among tailored suits and expensive watches. His jacket was simple, slightly worn at the edges, and his expression carried none of the panic one might expect. In this situation, he closed the door gently behind him and stood near the end of the table, hands relaxed at his sides. Emma turned toward him immediately. "Jake Miller, it's support you had access to the servers last night." All eyes shifted to him, some curious. Others already convinced. Jake nodded once. "Yes, I did." That was enough to ignite the room. A few executives exchanged knowing glances. One leaned forward, whispering something to another. The conclusion seemed obvious to them. Emma took a step closer, her heels echoing softly on the floor. "Sensitive files were copied. Security logs traced back to your credentials. Do you want to explain that?" Jake didn't respond right away. Instead, his gaze moved across the room slow. Observant, almost thoughtful. It wasn't the look of someone cornered. It was the look of someone assessing. "I accessed the system," he said calmly. The admission hit like fuel on fire. Emma crossed her arms. "So you admit it?" "I said I accessed the system," Jake replied, his tone steady. "I didn't say I stole anything." The distinction only seemed to irritate her. "More data was moved, Jake." "That's not a misunderstanding. That's a breach." Silence fell again. Heavier this time. The word breach carried consequences no one in that room could ignore. Jake remained still, unshaken. "Then maybe the problem isn't what you think it is." That answer drew sharper reactions. One executive scoffed under his breath. Another shook his head slightly, already dismissing him. Emma's expression hardened. She wasn't used to resistance, especially not from someone in his position. "You're in no place to be vague right now," she said. "This company is on the line." Jake met her gaze, not challengingly, but without fear exactly. The single word lingered in the air. For a moment, uncertainty flickered across a few faces in the room. Something about his calmness didn't fit the narrative they had already built, but Emma pushed forward, unwilling to let that doubt take hold. "Security is on standby," she said firmly. "If you don't start cooperating, this gets escalated immediately." Jake exhaled slowly, as if weighing his next words carefully. The room leaned into the silence, waiting. But he didn't defend himself. He didn't panic. He simply stood there, composed in a way that made the tension feel even sharper. And without anyone realizing it yet, the situation was far more complicated than it appeared. Security stepped closer, their presence tightening the already tense atmosphere. But Jake didn't move. He looked at Emma with the same steady calm, as if the outcome had never been in doubt. "Before you take this further," he said quietly, "you should review the full ownership file, not the summary, the complete record." Emma frowned, clearly irritated. But something in his tone made her pause. She gestured sharply to the legal team. "Pull it up." A few seconds passed that felt much longer. The screen at the end of the room flickered as documents loaded at first. Nothing seemed unusual until the lead counsel's expression changed. His posture stiffened, eyes narrowing as he scrolled further down. "Is something wrong?" Emma demanded. He hesitated, then turned the screen toward her. "You need to see this." The room went silent. There it was, clear, undeniable. Majority ownership 60%. Name Jake Miller. The shift was immediate. Confusion replaced certainty, and shock rippled through every person at the table. Emma's confidence cracked. Her gaze locked on the screen as if refusing to believe it. Jake finally stepped forward, his voice still calm. The data transfer wasn't theft. He explained it was a controlled security audit I authorized. No one interrupted. I stayed out of sight to see how leadership would respond under pressure. He continued what assumptions would be made, what decisions would follow. His eyes met Emma's again, not with anger but clarity. And now he said, "You have your answer."